Welcome to On the Mic with Shaz, where we dive into the real stories, insights, and adventures of incredible women in technology. This is our special series, Women in Tech Leadership, The Upsides, where we shine a light on what's truly rewarding about stepping into leadership in tech. Because, yes, we all know there are challenges, but we're flipping the script. We'll explore the growth, the impact, the opportunities to shape culture, and the moments that make it all worth it. I'm your host, Shaz, and I can't wait to share these conversations with you. Let's jump in. Today, I'm pumped and excited. I'm joined by Jella, who's here to share her honest take on the upsides of stepping into bigger roles, from the impact she's been able to make to the incredible moments that remind her exactly why she pushed through. Sue has an incredible story from starting out her career as a marketing and communications officer at Bond University on the Gold Coast, all the way through to the executive director and advisor at Nano Insights and founder and director of Dewdrop Digital. You heard it here, Dewdrop Digital. Sue is a visionary data and AI leader who transforms complexity into clarity and challenges into competitive advantage. A sought after strategist and leader at the forefront of the AI revolution, she empowers organizations to harness data as their most powerful asset, turning insights into action and uncertainty into opportunity. Sue is recognized among the global top 50 and 100 data innovators and honored as a Women in AI Asia Pacific Award winner. Sue's expertise bridges the gap between cutting edge technology and real world business impact. Her thought leadership has shaped data and AI standards, earning her a place among the top 25 leaders in Australia, as well as a permanent spot in the US Federal Congress Library as co-author of The AI Revolution, a seminal work crafted with a global team of AI pioneers. Sue's mission is clear: democratize and govern AI-driven decision-making and future-proof businesses in an era of exponential change. Welcome, Sue.
Hi, Shaz. That was awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so in awe to speak with you and share my journey. You are an incredible pioneer with what you do. So I'm really grateful I have this opportunity to chat to you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Sue. Thank you. That just got me all in the feels. Thank you. So, Sue, obviously, I know you very well now, but for our listeners tuning in today, and for those of you joining for a couple of episodes now, you'll probably be loving my Irish and Australian accent, but also sick of listening to me. So, let's hear a lot more from Sue. So, let's get the listeners to know you a bit better. What's your morning ritual that sets you up for a good day?
Goodness, that's actually really hard. Maybe a glass of warm water. That probably sets me up
Warm
really well.
water,
Yeah,
interesting.
warm water, and obviously sometimes when I have time, a bit of lemon. But yeah, it has helped me. Warm water does actually set me up. It gets me ready. It is good for the health. And you know what? I actually do like warm water. So it's a tiny little ritual. It does help just to get the day going.
Nice, nice, good stuff. Is there anything else that you do, like mindset wise, just to prepare yourself?
Yes, I always say, do you get up on the right side of the bed or the wrong side of the bed? My side of the bed is always the same, but I do get up knowing what my day has ahead of me. And I'm a bit of a planner, but I don't plan a day in advance. I do plan a fair bit in advance. And so I'm always ready for whatever the day has to bring, actually. It's not to say that I don't have my high and low moments. I do, but I just prepare for what's today going to be bringing. It's not necessarily the day where I expect everything to go my way. Most times it doesn't. So yeah, so just prepping myself up for what the day is to bring. I love listening to music in the morning at times, which is not that often, and I wish I could do more of it, was meditate in the morning. Just, 10-15 minutes just for myself, just to reset and get ready for what's ahead of me for the day. One of the things I do, which may not be for everyone, is read the news first thing in the morning, just so that I know what, is going to be either affecting me today, either at my work, in my industry, or just what I have to be ready for from planning perspective. Maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but it just helps me get ready for the day. But that's during the week, right? When it comes to the weekend, it's actually a very different scenario. I take time to do self-care. For me, it's retail therapy, going for massages, and planning something fun for the weekend. That's my weekend routine. So it's very different to the weekday.
Love it. Love it. And it's good because I do think it's important to have a plan. I do also think it's very important to understand expectations around that plan. And I guess as leaders, as executives, we understand that you can have a plan, but you've always got to adapt and not get disappointed by the challenges and the messiness of that plan when it comes into fruition. So, yeah,
Mm.
I think a plan is good, and definitely self care, meditation as well. I always have great intentions for that in the morning too. And I kind of try to incorporate it into like brushing my teeth a little bit, which sounds strange, but
Yeah.
that's the only way I can try and really fit it in and go, okay, I'm going to be really mindful and present brushing my teeth and
It's
just
true.
set intentions for my day. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? It starts like I was saying with my warm water ritual. It just kicks off my day. It just gets me into gear for the day. It's a tiny thing, but if it's something that you're used to doing and you actually feel the difference when you don't do it, it's part of your life. It's part of your cycle. So yeah, of course the weekends are different because that's the weekend. It's for me. The
Yeah.
weekdays are more of my routine sort of rituals.
Yeah. Makes sense. With everything that you do in data analytics and AI, what's one thing in your personal life that's not tech at all, but makes you light up?
Ooh, there's a few things. I love reading, and it doesn't have to be anything serious. It could be anything from comic strips. I love comic strips. That is something that I'm a huge fan of following and reading. I'm not an artist, so I do absolutely enjoy that. And one of the other things I actually do enjoy is my own little thing, which is dancing. So people probably don't know about that. I'm not a dancer. I definitely don't look like one, but I do actually enjoy the closet dancing. So I love Zumba music and really high energy music, and that gets me going. So, reading comic strips and dancing are my things that I don't think other people know about.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. Love dancing as well. So we have that in common. It's good for the soul.
It
And
is.
yeah, I love reading. I used to be such a big comic fan when I was younger. We used to do this thing where we'd swap comics, like you'd swap with somebody. So that's
No, I
good
used to do
insight
that.
into you.
And another insight is I've always wanted to learn tap dancing. That never happened. I do a bit of tap
There's
dancing.
still time. There's always time. There's time.
Yeah, I have to make that time now. So yeah.
Let's dig in then to your journey as a leader. So with such an incredible career and global recognition, I'd love to know what's the part of your journey that feels the most human to you, the part people might not see on your LinkedIn profile.
Great question, Shaz. I think it's the journey itself that I don't think people see, The reality is it's not just me, it's many other executives and pioneers and, people like yourself as well. We only see the result. We don't actually see the journey. We don't see the struggles, the pain, the disappointments that we have to go through. But it doesn't mean it's all morbid. There are a lot of highlights, and those are the highlights we do share. But my journey wasn't linear. And the human part of it was that I have worked very, very hard to get to where I am. I have gone through a lot of challenges. I've shed a lot of tears. I wish there were things I could have done differently. I don't live with any regrets. I don't. But the human aspect of what I've gone through is how do I make it better for the next one? So, the next journey, the next chapter. And so, really being able to learn from my previous experiences and knowing what worked and what doesn't work and how I can get better at it. And that's really the human aspect of it. I think my professional profile has been amazing. I've been very fortunate and very blessed to be given some of the opportunities that I have. And I've had some incredible mentors and leaders along the way, both, of diversity. It's not just female, it's not just male, but a really diverse group of people who've really supported me in my journey. Unfortunately, they don't get the visibility from my profile, but the human aspect of it is I didn't do it on my own. I had a lot of support. And I think the other aspect of that is we do go through a lot of challenges, we do a lot of self reflection, and we also, are built to work along the lines of where to from here when something hits you that you didn't expect. And so those are all the things that shape up your journey. And those are human emotions. And I do believe we have to acknowledge them, understand them. And, if it means you're going to have a hard day, have that hard day, but also find a way to work through it for the next step. So those are unfortunately, exactly as you said, the things that we don't see outside of the profile that's out there.
Thank you for sharing that, Sue. That's so honest of you and raw of you to share. Because you're right, people look in on successful people and those who have recognition. And in Australia, we do have that reputation of tall poppy syndrome to contend with also. And you're right. Recently, there's been an assumption towards me that, oh, you're so positive all the time. Oh, you're always so bubbly but it's easy for you, right? They don't realize that I want to curl up in my bed with my duvet over my head. I don't walk around talking about my challenges all the time. My choice is to talk about what's going right. Because if I go the other direction, I'll fall apart. I want to stay on top of what I'm doing because of my passion and my purpose for women, me to step up and need me to keep going because I'm going to try not get emotional. But it's like you're so right. It's like behind the scenes, we have to face ourselves because we're doing something more and something bigger than us and following our passion and purpose. You have to face yourself. And not a lot of people like to do that.
Mm.
We like to just keep busy so we don't have to face ourselves. And you have to face the uncertainty, the risks, the challenges. And my choice is to think of the best of the challenges. It's really hard to explain, but in the midst of all the challenges, I can find the light. I can find the loveliness in every little detail that's happening in those challenges. Do I still have a cry? Do I still put the duvet over my head? Yes. And at the end of the day, like you said, Sue, no regrets. I wouldn't choose any other journey but this journey. And I've had my failings and I've had to deal with my shame and embarrassment of that, of a business not working out before. But it's led me to this business, which I feel and believe in my soul is just helping and making more impact than the other one anyway. So, did I know that at the time when I was 3 months beating myself up? No. But I know that now. And just like you, I don't regret it.
I think the thing is, Shaz, you raised some very important points. And I think the problem is we're expected to be perfect, but we
Yeah.
don't live in a perfect world. And if we did live in a perfect world, and if we were perfect, what are we actually doing? Challenges bring opportunities, but it also brings learnings. I mean, we always see this entrepreneurial culture, the startup culture becoming successful. But do you know how many challenges those entrepreneurs and leaders have had to go through to show the end result? We very rarely know that journey. We only know the end result. We only know that it's $1 billion company and they've done fantastically well. But hidden story is so much more than that. And so if we do fail, that's okay. I think it's really okay. And I have failed. I have failed in my life. I have made some incorrect decisions and I have turned around and said, why couldn't I have done that better? But if I didn't make those wrong decisions, and maybe not bad decisions, but just wrong decisions, how would I have known that they were wrong in the first place? You know?
Exactly.
So we are human. And what we knew 20 years ago, I mean, I was much younger when I was 20 something. I just, got out of uni, got out of school. What would I have known? I could only trial and error and experiment. But through my 20s, I learned what worked and what didn't work for me. But I was also completely on my own and I was learning completely on my own. I had no family here. I moved to Australia 20 years ago and I had no friends. I had nothing. I had 2 suitcases and I was just naive and I didn't even visit Australia before that. So it was me just taking the courage to say, I'm going to try something new and make it work. And I'm not saying everyone needs to go down that path, but if you don't give it a go and if you don't take some courage in yourself and the abilities that you carry, you're never going to know what you can actually do.
Yeah. And we talk about this. So now it's about for women in technology, women in tech leadership roles to take back our power. And we decide what organizations we should go to. We decide what's next for our careers. We take back the power. I never want us women to feel stuck and like a company has a hold over us. We are our own individual selves, standing up for ourselves and doing this journey, and no one is going to take a hold of us. We are free to do what we want. And I want us to take back that power and go for it.
I agree. Because we are, at the end of the day, individuals. And we all have a unique place to fill in our homes, in our families, in this world. And so just know exactly that, which is you have the power to do what you really want to do, but it's not going to be falling onto your lap. It's not, going to be showered to you. You have to work towards it. And I think that's the story you and I have the opportunity to tell our audience, which is it comes with a lot of hard work and there will be hard days, but if you really are committed to it and you are dedicated to it, it will come your way with time. And I think that's kind of the challenge, right? We're working in an environment where there's a huge difference and variety of generational diversity, and what millennials and baby boomers and Gen Xers think versus what alphas and Gen Zers think, it's different. There's a generation that probably thinks it's easy to just get whatever you want, and then there's a generation that thinks, no, you actually have to earn it. And so I'm not going to name the generations, but the reality is we all are in that environment. So at the end of the day, I truly do believe that earning your place has its positive outcomes, but you have to work towards it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I wouldn't change a thing. I think when you follow that passion and purpose, no matter what hurdles are thrown at you, you just keep going. It will work out. It 100% will work out. And you will get there. And the impact that you're trying to make and the role that you're trying to achieve, the environment and the surroundings that you're trying to have for yourself, when you back yourself, when you know in your authentic soul what you want, follow that passion, no matter what anybody says, it will show up for you and you will attract it.
Yeah, I agree. It all comes down to being loyal to yourself and
Yeah.
acknowledging your own areas of development, but your own strengths. And it goes back to don't aim for perfection.
Yeah.
Perfection is not what we should be aiming for, but
Yeah.
we should be aiming for better than where we are and planning that journey. And it does require a plan, actually. Whatever you want to do, um, if it's being independent, if it's being an entrepreneur, if it's being a leader, wherever it is, you have to plan the journey because
Yeah.
doesn't happen without some planning and some thought. I mean, and if it does, you'll probably be shocked by the outcomes because you didn't plan for what that role or what that specific situation entails.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need support on that journey because new is scary. New brings uncertainty, new brings fear. Particularly my situation raises your insecurities to the top. And that's where I say face yourself, right? That's what I mean
Mhm.
by face yourself. Your insecurities rise to the top. Everything you felt as a child and a teenager starts coming out of you. And that's what I mean when I say you face yourself. You don't know that's going to happen, but with new comes all of that uncertainty, insecurities, like you're triggered by old situations that have happened to you start popping up. So you really have to tap into all of that and go, all right, I'm learning and growing through that, coming out the other side to get to where I need to be. So it no longer hinders me and my success,
Agree.
as an emerging leader or as an accomplished executive and leader. Yeah.
And it's so true what you say. I've spoken to so many women who are early in their career, and the first thing they say to me, just in general, is they struggle to amplify their voice. They struggle to be heard and have confidence in themselves in what they do. They have the ambition. It's not that they don't, they just don't know how to get there. And I think that's where forums like this and the work that you're doing, Shaz, is incredible because there are so many young women out there who want to make a difference and who want to do it right. They just don't have the pathway. But I think this is where working with your people like yourself can really change lives. And we need to start to seek out those mentors early in our careers. Not, but you can seek out a mentor at any point in your career, but starting early can really set you up for a lot of different opportunities.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it's funny as well because some of my clients that come to me, they're kind of like, Shaz, can you just do the change for me? Like, can you
Holy
just,
Shaz.
yeah, I'm so uncomfortable. Can you just do the change for me? And I'm like, well, I can guide you through it, but you gotta tap into yourself. You gotta face the uncomfort. And then they come out the other side, like through the uncomfort. And that temporary uncomfort leads to a lifetime of you finally living the best version of yourself, that little uncomfortable temporary moments. And it doesn't happen overnight, of course, but that's why it's okay to have the support. We try to think about and have an intention to do this. It's the how that cripples us, because the newness and the uncomfort, a lot of us just don't want to face it. And we've great, like, and I, like I said, my clients are just like, I really want to, I just don't want to go through the uncomfort. Can you do it for me?
And 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 what I love about that is we all think uncomfortable is hard, but actually, the more you get used to being comfortable with uncomfortable, the better you're gonna get at it. I made that my motto for the last couple of years, that get comfortable with uncomfortable, and it actually helped me. It really did help me
Yeah,
because
that motto is good.
I started getting into opportunities. I say opportunities that I would have formerly thought challenging. And it's really helped me overcome some of my fears. I do a lot of public speaking, and I attend a lot of conferences where I either moderate, chair, or I'm a panelist. And trust me, 10 years ago, I would have feared just speaking to a group of 5 people. But that's actually me getting out of my uncomfortable zone and feeling so much better about it, that I'm absolutely comfortable to keep doing that now, that I love it.
I love that.
And so, you do have to harness your shortcomings, but your shortcomings can become actually your biggest strengths. And I've realized I'm better on cue than I am prepared. And so it just works out, but you have to challenge yourself to do the stuff that you can slowly try to, I guess, massage into your life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say to my clients, do you want a temporary uncomfort for a lifetime of being the best version of yourself? Or do you want permanent uncomfort
Yeah.
equals illness, anxiety, stress, depression? So which would you choose, right? Yeah.
And that's a fair ask, because I'm sure everyone will choose the former.
Yeah, because you're uncomfortable anyway, but you're in a
Yeah.
permanent uncomfort and overwhelm and pressure and thinking that you have to be busy because you do not want to face what's showing up for you. So it's that, but what are you busy with? And I go through this a lot with my clients is we shift what they're busy with to putting their energy into what's really going to help them feel confident about themselves and their day and showing up as a leader with their team. And when they flip it like that, they really get shocked by the fact they haven't stopped and self reflected on that before. And they go, how did I not have you like a year or two ago? So yeah, it's just a little flick of a switch or a perspective, because when we're constantly on the go, we don't often self-reflect enough to catch those things. So support is great to help you catch those things for sure.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Even just, having a conversation with another person who has either gone through something similar or has, overcome those challenges. It's like you and I have chatted a few times about this. That alone can just open up a world of perspective. And it's really interesting. And I do reflect again on some of the conversations I have in panel discussions. And I always am with someone who's maybe worked in a technical field or worked in a field which I don't unfortunately have the skills in. But what I realize I bring is the insight and the perspective that maybe the audience didn't expect or the panelists didn't expect. And that's really shaped conversations. So even in a situation like that, just having a unique perspective can actually be your biggest strength. And being then able to guide that, like you are, Shaz, is an even better strength, because that means you're drawing out someone's best quality and they may not have seen it. So those conversations are really important, and we shouldn't neglect having them. It's not networking, it's actually insightful reflection, which is so important.
Absolutely. You're just a breath of fresh air to listen to.
Thanks, Shaz.
So listen, let's get back into your data AI and innovation journey. What first sparked your curiosity for data, AI, and innovation? And did you know back then it would lead you to global stages?
No idea. To be honest, even going to global stages wasn't in my plan. I mean, I think that was too far out. I couldn't plan that far. I planned maybe for a few years, not for 20 years. So yeah, I think I was fortunate, but I definitely, like I was saying earlier on, I think my unique perspectives and my unique way of working and the way I lead my teams, but I just lead myself in general, have definitely had a massive impact in being seen and being heard. But what actually led me onto this journey is that I think it's not about me being an engineer or a coder, because I'm not. I used to code at a very previous part of my life, but I'm by no means a fantastic coder, but I am curious and I love interpreting things. I like reflecting on information. I like to absorb and think, how do I apply this in my everyday life? So it's not just about work-based data sets, but it's just about data is information. It's information in general. And I love learning. And I love learning new things, new concepts, new methodologies on a daily basis. But something that I'm very passionate about is good leadership. And I reflected a lot over the course of my career. How can I take my curiosity for information and turn that into a leadership opportunity? And that just obviously started a whole different opportunity list of conversations, roles, and then obviously meeting different people. So yeah, my curiosity though from a professional perspective for data and AI started off in market research. So my background is in marketing and I did a lot of market research in my earlier days in my earlier career, but also as a student. And when I say market research, I did the physical market research of collecting data and being the promotional person who stood in stores and tried to get data from customers, and then obviously do that entire end-to-end journey of collection, capturing, storage, and then interpretation. So that formed a part of my career as well, and some of the jobs I did as a student. And then, it was the digital evolution, not the AI evolution. It was the digital evolution, and every organization wanted to have a website and wanted to be standing out in the digital clutter that we have. And that opened up digital marketing opportunities, which ended up opening up analytics opportunities, because you can't improve digital marketing if you don't understand the data behind it. And that sort of escalated my journey into different tools and technologies and platforms, leading project teams and bringing into the organization enablement and basically teaching and coaching and mentoring a lot of organizations, but then also individuals who want to get on a similar journey. So there was no sort of linear path for me. It just sort of happened because I took an interest in it. And a lot of the interests I had did not bring in any extra money. It was all my own personal need and yearning to want to learn and be better at what I do. And so that's how I just stayed at the forefront of what I was doing. And essentially, every organization I worked for in the last 15 years were trying to solve the same problem, which is, what do we do with this data? And so it was no longer digital marketing or digital data, it was organizational data. So it hit every part of the business. And the interesting part of it was that every organization had this data, but they weren't necessarily insightfully interpreting it to make better decisions because it was chaotic. Right. And so part of my role was being that insight specialist, interpreting it and translating it into a way that resonates with the audience. And so that obviously led to further opportunities to lead and develop teams and bring on new people, new talent. I've always invested in graduates and interns and early career specialists because they bring in a very different perspective. And that also helped me to stay in tune with the needs of the market. That also developed my technical understanding. And so just using a different way of working just really changed the environment, and it really changed the way I lead, but it's also grown my entire network and ability to be able to understand the problems in the market. And essentially the problem in the market is that customers want their problem solved. They just don't want a solution that you are advocating for. They actually want their problem solved. And organizations want to know what those problems are, which is data and its insights and its customer experiences. And more importantly, it's about understanding the wealth of information that you have within your organization without collecting anything new that'll help you make decisions. So that's essentially how my journey evolved. There's, I mean, so much more I can say about it, but that's sort of the evolution of where I got to where I am now.
Your passion just oozes out of you. And you're a prime example of when you follow your passion, that it just works out and it just unfolds how it's meant to, even though you don't have a crystal ball to see how it's going to unfold yet. You're a classic example of when you stick to your passion and you go for it, that it unfolds for you into the right places that you're meant to go to. And you
So
don't need to know exactly what that looks like yet. Just trust it.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been very passionate about what I do, and it's not something that has led to success immediately, but because I've stayed with it and because I have the passion, I kept learning, I kept applying, and now I get to, lead my own business in a way and partner with other startups as well, which has really helped to showcase how important it is to keep developing yourself because again, AI, there's no playbook for it. There's a lot of books about it, but there's no playbook about what is the perfect scenario and how do you navigate the perfect scenario because it's not there. It's evolving every single day. Every single day, I wake up hearing something new about AI,
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
and it's
I
scary.
I agree. And when we start getting into these frenzies, I call them, it's when Agile broke out, cloud, when that all went crazy, you wake up every day with something new and something new. And from people who are not from the tech world, that can be quite scary because you can't always keep up with it. We're even in the tech world, right? And I find myself getting frustrated with platforms I'm using every day because the settings change suddenly, and I have to spend so long going to look for this particular setting to understand what's showing up. And it's just little things like that. There's so much AI showing up every single day. And I often get people asking me, what's the difference between this and this? What's the purpose of this? And I think people are getting confused
Mm,
and almost shying away or overusing it in the incorrect way.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing, right? Is that the best practice aspect of it is also very unknown because every day it's changing. So how do you keep up with it?
Yeah.
I mean, even I struggle. I'm not going to deny that I know everything that's happening in the world right now, but I try and stay informed and I try and absorb what I can for the day and apply what I can outside of that day. So again, it's about staying connected. I think what the digital environment has presented to us as an opportunity to stay connected, and that has led to many other things we possibly may not have thought of. I mean, you got this podcast, and it's been amazing that you've been able to bring this community of women to learn and engage and network because you've immersed yourself in the digital evolution, and that is so powerful.
I never looked at it like that. I really like that. You have a way with words, Sue. I love it. Absolutely love
I'm
it.
learning. I'm learning.
And from all your leadership experience, then, what's one lesson you wish more women in tech could learn earlier in their careers?
I think the main lesson is to take courage. And I think a lot of women do withdraw from that for many fears. It's to take courage and take confidence in what you know, and then slowly develop more confidence in the things that you don't know. So I would definitely say taking courage is something that pushes us out of that leadership journey. It could be applying for the job. It could be staying in the job and making your voice be heard. It's being the person in the corner that may not have the presence you need to have. So you have to take courage in an area that you're comfortable to be in and then be able to promote that. You have to be able to market it. And I know the word marketing sounds really cliched, but we have to market everything we do. And it means marketing yourself, it means marketing your passions, and you have to find a way to work out what's the best way to do it that'll resonate with you and give you, as a person, the best reflection of yourself. And that's a journey. And that I wish I started earlier in my journey. And despite having studied marketing and built that as a profession, I did not apply it to my own personal presence. And I did that maybe a bit later, but at least I did it and it got me a long way. And it's been really good in terms of building my own professional expertise, but also the things I'm passionate about and the work that I do, because I know data and AI is probably a little bit intimidating, but it's actually not going to go away. It's right here and I'm really passionate about it. And I had no idea it would go this far. 20 years ago, I wouldn't have thought this is what I would be doing, but it's actually helped me so much to understand what works and what doesn't work. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for using it resourcefully and strategically, but also an advocate for using it responsibly and with more ethics, and governance is a big part of what I do in that.
Wonderful. And the message there, Sue, is lean in and be okay with not having that crystal ball to see what's about to come. Just trust it. Another thing I've seen coming up, like through my clients' journeys, is discovering that they're neurodivergent or like perimenopausal or menopausal. We are getting a little bit like we feel defeated. And how am I going to have the energy now for leadership? How am I going to have the energy to show up for my team? Now that I know this about myself, am I different? And there's a bit of shame there. And when I go through this journey with my clients, and again, my biggest thing is giving you back your power and not being held and stuck by a company or a part of yourself that you think is different. Different is beautiful, different is unique. And again, what we were just talking about, lean into that beautiful part of you that you've just discovered. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And when we go through that journey and they come out the other side and they go, wow, I had this assumption, I had this perspective of myself, and it held me back so much, and now I'm free. And that is why I'm addicted to doing what I do. That's why I'm okay having like the duvet over my head type of days where I have a few meltdowns, because business and tech, as much as I love it, it does like to mess with me sometimes and test me, and I'm human. But this is why I do what I do, because that ability, when you are not able to lean into those situations yourself. And I once wanted this in my career. That's my why. That's why I do this for other women in tech, because I needed this type of person in my life, in my career, and I had to do it all by myself. And the only regret I have is not getting support. That's the only regret I have looking back. So I've become that go-to person and support that I once wanted in my career.
And that resonates so closely with me, Shaz, because we've had this discussion as well, where I was in that place in my life too, when I was early in my career, being very inexperienced and still learning the journey, learning how do I differentiate myself, how do I stand out. And yeah, I struggled and I was like, I don't have a mentor, I don't have a support system to help me through this. And this was when I was pretty much in my 20s. And as I grew and matured and gained more experience after I got married, my husband once told me that if you can't find the leader that you need and you want, why don't you be the leader for someone else?
Oh,
And that was just a switch. It was a complete switch, because exactly as you said about perspectives, I did not ever think of that. And when I thought about that, the whole dialogue changed. The mental dialogue changed. And even just thinking about, I can help others. I don't even have to lead them. I can just share my story. And then everything else will follow. And it actually did. So many different opportunities came my way after that, because I was willing to share and I was willing to learn. And I don't ever see myself as a boss, as much as others may say boss lady. I don't see myself as that, because I do believe we have so much to learn from each other. It doesn't matter where we are in our journey. And through that, I came up with now wanting to start my own company, which is Dewdrop Digital, and helping startups and partnering with others. And it's just opened up so many other doors by just changing the dialogue in my head. Instead of being the person who's like, I'm not getting there, and throwing myself a pity party, I started the party to bring others into it. So it just changed.
and listeners, there goes the mic drop. If you're not watching this and you're hearing this, I just did a mic drop.
That's great.
Powerful, very powerful.
Thanks.
So now you've worked and spoken on international stages. What differences do you see in how women in tech and leadership are supported globally compared to here in Australia?
It's a hard one. And, it would probably be a very biased opinion, whatever I'm saying. It's just based on observation and, of course, having a network of people that I interact with. I think there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. I think the pool outside of Australia is much larger, much wider. And if you just look at America, Europe, and Asia, if I just take an example, for example, Indira Nui, she doesn't know me. I know her. I mean, she's a woman of diversity and she's led Pepsi. And there's many more women like that in leadership positions of diverse backgrounds leading organizations. The difference in Australia is I don't see a lot of that. And it's a few factors. I don't see a lot of females leading, and the females that are leading, they're not diverse. And that's why I said it's a biased opinion. I think we're still getting there. We have a much smaller population compared to the global arena. I get that, and we may not have the people there yet. But yeah, the cohort, if you just think about, population of working people in Australia is about 11 to 15 million. Our population is 26 million. And that's a very small working population. And in that, how many people are actually experts? Maybe 10 to 20% are experts. And in that 10 to 20%, how many of them are actually female and female of diversity? And I'm not saying diversity is necessarily ethnic background, it's neurodiversity. It is people who have a different skill set, a different background, a different experience. It's all of that, it's diversity in general. I don't see a lot of that in Australia. I feel like it's a very homogenous cohort of leaders. And that's maybe something that is different to the rest of the world. I think there's a good opportunity to change that. And I think, people like yourself and myself who are able to help mentor and coach organizations who want those leaders, or, people who want to become those leaders, can really help to shape that journey. But also starting our own companies is a good place to really change that dial. Again, there's not a lot of female entrepreneurs for many reasons. So this is, again, another opportunity to encourage that. In terms of similarities, I would say in leadership, I think essentially most organizations just in general in leadership are toggling with the same problems. And I think this whole evolution with technology, digital, AI, and data is becoming a really big challenge for leaders in general, because you don't know sometimes if you start with the right arm or the left arm. And that is a challenge in terms of what is best practice, what is right for me, and what is right for my organization, because all the things that a lot of organizations are doing is following each other without actually thinking about, is this going to solve my own business problem, is this the right solution for my business? And that's why 85% of AI projects fail. That's the other reason, because so many of these projects are centered around what another organization is doing, instead of actually thinking about, where do I look at this from the perspective of my people, my customers, and my organization? So again, the leadership synergies are there between the global space and here, but then the leadership differences are also there very strongly across those areas. I think there's a lot of opportunity. It's a matter of whether we can actually target and achieve those opportunities is probably the bigger challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And also eliminate tall poppy syndrome, because
Yeah,
we're known for that culture over here. So let's not be known for that.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a tough question, and I know there's a lot of trepidation in discussing it. So, well done on being able to open up that dialogue. And I think
Oh,
more
yeah.
need to open up
It's
that dialogue.
important. I mean, we shouldn't be shying away from these things. And I think, look, from my side of things, what I see talking to women in tech every day and from my clients' perspective is, yes, there's bro culture. Yes, it's a traditionally male dominant environment. Okay, I've worked in a traditionally male dominant environment myself, but also I'm chatting with women who have a lot of issues with other women. So let's also not be afraid to point that out, because other women in tech are hindering other women in tech. And I think we should be calling that out more and not letting that happen just as much as what happens in the male dominant side, right? Because you don't want to paint them all with the same brush. Just like if one woman lets the side down and is not uplifting another woman and they're holding them back, and one man is doing that as well, you can't paint the whole men in tech with that picture or that women in tech with that picture. You have to treat people individually, just like everyone in your organization is an individual going through a personal challenge, going through a professional challenge, very different at different stages of their lives, right? So if you're trying to put a band-aid across them all and paint them all with one brush, then you're going to put that band-aid over them all and hope it sticks across them all. But it's individual. You have to understand your people individually.
I agree. You do. And that goes, again, we are all social beings, but we all are unique and individual. So trying to put again a blanket solution for everything is really not going to fix the problem, or it's not going to create the opportunity either. So, and I think this is where, as individuals, we need to also take accountability for that by saying, where do I stand out and what's unique about me? So a lot of introspection, personal reflection is really needed so that you can also find a way to differentiate yourself from others. And there's one quality. We all have that one quality that makes us stand out.
Yeah. Punch the air.
Yeah, I know. Let's go for it.
If you're not watching us, we're punching the air, literally. Listeners, let me ask you this then. If you could give one piece of advice to help women stop seeing senior roles as this scary, unapproachable place, what would it be?
You have to put yourself out there. And it is scary. I'm not going to deny that. It is scary. It is intimidating. And sometimes you don't know what you're going to be signing up to. But this is where the opportunity is to speak to other people in those roles, take the courage to go and approach them, ask them, what does your role entail? And be honest with me. Because then you'll also know whether it's something you do want to do. I mean, leadership is not for everyone, because not because they can't do it, it's because whether they want to do it. And taking on a very senior role also may not necessarily be something someone wants, because a senior role is not just about taking the position. It's about acting as the leader you want to be seen as, and being there for your team and showing up. And sometimes it can be hard when you have a lot of other personal commitments, and you may want to dedicate more time to your family life. And dedicating all the time to a senior role when you have a very demanding family life can also be very difficult. So it's a choice that you make whether you want that role or not. But I would say the first thing is work out whether you can actually give the time commitment to it, considering your personal situation. Second to that, as well, as if you are really interested in it, find out what it actually entails. Because again, the beautiful rosy picture out there is not necessarily the reality. And so we have to be realistic about what it entails and what it's going to take from us. It's the same with being an entrepreneur. It's a leadership role. You are the one person doing it all. So you're the expert in everything. And even being an entrepreneur is intimidating, because you're on your own, having to chart that journey until you can bring in a team and you can build your organization. And even in that journey, you have to have the conversations to work out what it is you want to do and how you want to lead that. Leadership is not just about leading teams, it's about leading yourself and finding a way to lead yourself in a way that will not break you, but it'll make you. So there's so many different approaches that I could provide. I could give a lot of advice, but I think the first thing is work out if that's what you want. And once you've worked out if that's what you want, have a conversation with people who are open and willing to share their journeys with you. And then from there, commit to it and keep pushing forward with that agenda to get that role. It's not going to happen overnight. Maybe it will. It could be a sheer luck of success and right time, right place. But if it doesn't happen immediately, keep pushing for it and sharing your story, building your profile to be able to target that opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's funny because a lot of my clients say as well that they reach out to somebody, they don't hear back. And I'm like, well, reach out to someone else. And they're
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
and
It's a journey. You keep doing it,
you just
right?
keep going. And it's funny how it's like, oh, I stopped there. No, keep going. And it'll happen. You'll get someone who will come back to you. Like they will. And the other side of it is, as women, we tend to stick to our comfort zones. So we might stick to our little clique in our organization. But what you don't realize is the diversity of perspectives of other people, men and women from other industries, and have networking with them is so powerful as well. And that's just something else to keep in mind from the networking perspective. And I challenge my clients. Sometimes I give them one challenge a week towards networking. And sometimes it could be one reach out on LinkedIn. It could be connecting with one person. And then when they connect with you, reach out to them, or go to one event and just talk to one person and simply say, hello, my name is. And I do this, and this way they're actually enjoying it a little bit more, because they realize just through little baby steps. And then the more they do the baby steps, they realize, oh, this isn't actually, the thought of this was worse than the actual doing it. It's not so bad, actually. I
Mm.
had built this horrible scene in my head, and that someone was going to laugh at me. And the point is, if they laugh at you, let them laugh at you. What's the worst that can happen? Move on with life. Yeah. And that's why we come back to, like you said, lead yourself. When you lead yourself, it doesn't actually matter when somebody laughs at you then, because you're leading yourself, you know who you are. And you
Mm,
go, that's okay. That's a them problem, not a me problem.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you will be in those situations where you will be like, oh, I wish I didn't say that.
Yeah.
And it'll probably sit on your head for a while, and then you'll be like, you know what? Something else will happen. People will forget about it. They'll move on. And that's exactly it. But I did want to tap into something that you said earlier on, which was around advocacy and around having more female advocacy. The other thing I wanted to mention is I've actually had some really strong male advocacy as well. And it's about building those relationships with both, again, a diverse range of relationships. It's not one size fits all. And you will be amazed at how many strong men there are that really see women for the intellect and the abilities they have to provide to that environment. I was hired a couple of times by male senior leaders who were incredible in my journey of development, but in my journey of accomplishment as well. And I really give a lot of kudos to them because they may not have realized it, but they've been huge advocates in really honoring my skills and really honoring what I had to bring to the organization. And then of course, yes, definitely there have been female mentors along the way, female leaders along the way. But let's not forget we have strong male advocates as well. And we need to build relationships with them as well because there's a community of men out there who do truly want to see women succeed. And they are invested in helping develop them. It's not just, it's just not a token message or a token opportunity. Some of my previous roles, I've had some of my key male managers send me on conferences and courses and certifications because they truly believed that I would be able to make the best use of it. And then, obviously, more than that, applying the knowledge that I had. So I applied all the skills that I gained through that for the organizational benefits. So I think those are really important conversations we need to have as well, and we need to push for that as well. And we need to honor those men who actually do invest in women. We do, but in the right way. It's not a token way. It's the right investment.
Exactly. And I think there's two things. You hold accountable and have a voice towards those men who are always going to, not always going to, but their mindset, their personal mapping is going to treat you in such a way that they feel is right in their minds. So let's call it out. If you feel it's not respectful, call it out. The other side is to talk more about the men who do help, because we don't talk about it enough. And I also had a leader in my career working in traditionally male dominant environments who stood out to me, went against his peers and how they wanted to manage, and I applaud that way of managing and realized in my own head that's how I want to be. I want to be that type of leader. And he instilled that in me. And the same with some female leaders I've had as well, the same thing. And we don't talk about that enough. And that's why I've created the upsides of tech leadership too, women in tech leadership, because we are falling into this trap of on social media talking about how difficult it is, talking about the challenges, and women are doomed now. It's even worse in tech than we thought, and calling out the same data over and over again. So it looks like it doesn't change. But in the background, I actually chat to so many people who are enjoying and loving being in tech leadership roles. And that's what prompted me to do this. And I talk to men who really want us to succeed, and not because we're female, but because we're absolutely brilliant as well. And so it's just for a lot of the men too, they feel a little bit on eggshells now because there's so many areas they have to watch out for that they really feel like they can't be themselves sometimes too. And we're on eggshells, they're on eggshells. Let's just come back to this great collaborative place where we bring our diverse minds and individuality into something great in an organization or as an entrepreneur. It's so possible. And why are we making it complicated for ourselves, people?
Exactly. That's so true. I agree with that. I mean, we need to be able to share and collaborate more on these stories because then you can really make a difference in your own personal life, but also outside of.
Yeah. Is there anyone you would like to dedicate this wonderful episode to, Sue, in your life?
Thanks, Chaz. Oh, there's so many. It's going to be hard to name everyone, but I think they know who they are if they do listen to this episode. But I've had some incredible female mentors and male mentors in my career, not necessarily just always as managers or direct managers. It's been a bit of both. They've been the ones where I didn't get the advocacy either, but the ones who did give me the advocacy and continue to give me their time and continue to give me their support and empowerment and encouragement. Big thanks to all of them. They've been so incredible in this journey, and I continue to stay in touch because it's a way for me to keep that relationship going, but also more importantly, impart any knowledge and learnings that I've gained through their own advocacy and mentorship. That's made such a huge difference. But it's a very special shout out to a couple of people in my life who are still in my life. And my very first mentor and my very first advocate was my sister. And it's my elder sister. And she's been always an amazing advocate for me. We are complete opposites, but she's always believed in me. And ever since I was a child, she's nurtured me and supported me and really helped me to grow as a person. But also, more importantly, she was the one who actually got me to get into marketing because she believed it was an asset for me. And I didn't. So, thanks to her, I am where I am today because all those learnings and all those support systems that she knew more about me than I did, also she helped to shape me a lot. And of course, my parents, they've always been there supporting me. They've always encouraged me to get educated and go as high as I could. The most important person in my life right now is my husband, who's given me that really important dialogue around be the leader that you wish you had. And if it wasn't for his advocacy and empowerment, I think I probably would have just continued on a journey of pity partying, but instead he helped me to start the party and not end it. So, I'm very, very truly grateful for having such a good partner to also stand by me and help me continue on this journey, no matter how hard it gets. And I think we all need that friend, that partner, that support system to help you get through those hard days. And they will be hard days. There's no such thing as a perfect day. So if you have that support system that's either a friend, a partner, a relative, hang on to it and be there for them because I'm sure they'll go through those hard days as well. And yeah, I wish I could name all the important people in my life who've really helped me and been there for me. But yeah, the list is a bit long.
Love that. Shout out to Devin and Sarisha.
Thanks, Shaz.
No,
Thank you.
it's super important to have that backing and belief system. The same with my husband. He believes in me. And I sit on the stairs sometimes and ramble my next thing I want to do to help women in tech. And he has to stand there and listen to me go on and on. And I'll literally pin him like I'm sitting on the stairs on the step, and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And he has to listen to it.
And sometimes they do help to calm you down, right?
It
Because our
does.
ambition can be so big and they just
Yeah.
bring you to reality. Just hang on, you only have 24 hours in a day and you need to sleep for 8 of
Superb. Yeah, yeah. But we're a good support system for each other, and we uplift and back each other and believe in each other. I think that's so important too, to have that right partner and family and support system around you, whether it's friends as well, just a good circle of people, and also people who get you from the women in tech leadership world, having other mindsets from diverse industries, having those types of people around you really helps you. So you might take a month stressing and thinking about something, and you have a 45-minute conversation with one of those women, and it would have sorted out that stress that you were carrying in
that.
45 minutes, right? It's happened to me recently. So it just is important to have that support system and belief system around you, people who get it too.
Yeah, people who get it. And that's what goes back to what I was saying earlier on. Build a network of people you can talk to. It's just like how you and I have met, Shaz. I think we share so many very similar stories and journeys that it makes it so much easier to work out what is suitable for you and what isn't. And so that dialogue is really important. And, if you're not comfortable speaking to a whole group of people, have these one-on-one sort of conversations because it can make a world of difference. You just learn so much more about what's out there that you may not have known. And I think that's really been a very powerful part of my journey is being able to meet amazing, incredible pioneers like yourself and really trying to change that status dial and shift the needle. It's so important because we are entering an environment of complete uncertainty, but a little bit of certainty can be there when you start to work with others on a similar domain.
I like that. You should caption that line right there.
It's
Yeah.
copyright reserved, just by the way.
So It's just been a breath of fresh air talking to you, honestly.
Yes.
Like, what an inspiring conversation. And I really appreciate you being so honest and raw and really helping women to see what's possible when you step into these tech leadership roles and the influence that you can have. It's so important because, yeah, there's challenges, but with that challenge comes growth, comes, it's super empowering. And I think when we put the focus there, we're unstoppable.
Yeah, I agree. We are. And it's for anyone because we've got a whole suite of a new generation of people entering the environment who are possibly going to be very vulnerable in it. And so again, open the doors, open your voice, open your perspective, and the world is your oyster. It really is. Yeah, just open that door.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Sue. And for all of you listening, I hope this has helped you see just how many upsides there are when women step into leadership roles in tech. If this resonated, please share it with another woman in tech who needs to hear these stories. And don't forget to subscribe so you can catch our next episode. We've got more incredible guests lined up, and I can't wait to share their journeys with you. Until next time, keep pushing for the change you want to see and know you absolutely deserve a seat at the table. See you next time, everyone. Bye.